Hello and welcome to Archfeldor's Stuff with Archfeldor and his stuff. And today we're in Warsong Gulch and we're going to be doing a little PVP. And this is the starting area, the 2-minute wait in the starting area at the start of every battleground. Thanks for that one, Blizzard. And in the starting area, it's usually a good time to check out the composition of your team, check out their strengths and weaknesses, clock the number of healers, number of DPS, number of hybrids, see what type of strategy you're going to be using. That's the theory anyway. In practice, people usually just make train impressions and jump around randomly. Why do people jump around randomly in Battlegrounds, or indeed in World of Warcraft all the time? I have no idea, but they do. Anyway, in this particular battleground, we have 2 healers on our team and no specialist healers on the opposition, which would, in all things being equal, in normal circumstances, mean a fairly easy win for our team. But it doesn't always work like that for various reasons. Now, this is the absolute most important part of the battleground, which is running out of the door faster than everyone else. Yes, no, I didn't win. Okay, now normally when you're starting off in Warsong Gulch, the best strategy, bear in mind I played thousands and thousands of Warsong Gulches, probably tens of thousands of battlegrounds in total. The best strategy I've found is to maintain the group in a tight formation, a fairly tight formation. Try and pick off stragglers from the opposing team's group. This is the tried and tested strategy, and we weren't able to employ it in this particular battleground, as you can see, because a number of the opposing team met us head on, so we're straight into a fairly big fight. And I'm building up some procs here and letting loose with my fireballs. As you may be aware, Mage Gear has an enormous amount of crit on it potentially at the moment, which allows me to cast these enormous pyroblasts. And we're making fairly short work of the opposition. You can usually tell the outcome of one of these battles simply by counting the number of people involved. If there's 1 or 2 fewer players involved in the action, then you can be fairly certain that faction is going to lose. But of course it's not quite that straightforward, because if you take your eyes off what's happening with the flags, as is very easy to do, then you may have won the battle, but you can easily lose the war. At this stage, I'm heavily focused, as you can see, on my rotation, helping out my comrades here. And there is something always in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, like, what is happening with the flag? But at this stage, I just didn't have time to check it. It can be very dangerous if you get some ghost wolf flitting past you at lightning speed. Often in this type of situation, people will yell over chat. They'll yell, "Stop fighting in the middle," and they're absolutely right to do so, because if you aren't focusing on the flags, you will usually lose, even if your team massively outgears the opposition, because ultimately the flags are really what it's all about. Having said that, often I will fight in the middle for the simple reason that I'm concerned that the rest of the team will get totally overrun. And loss of midfield does have a consequence. It is a major disadvantage. So you have to take all factors into consideration, and of course, sometimes you simply can't get past midfield. You'll find usually when you come to take down the flag carrier, the enemy flag carrier, that you'll need a number of people behind you. It doesn't really matter how good your gear is. If the EFC has a healer around him and some DPS, you're gonna need some help. So you really do want to take as many people as possible. So if you can clear mid relatively quickly without losing too much focus, it can be an effective strategy. Now there's a common situation I'm encountering just here. When you get an opponent who is either healing himself or is being healed, then you need to just alter your strategy a little. Think about what you're doing, because someone who's being healed or healing themselves, interrupts and abilities like spell steal become very important. It's one of those situations where you need a lot of experience, because the best option isn't always obvious. The spell steal has a huge mana cost at the moment, but it still can be employed very effectively. And sometimes, of course, particularly when your opponent has weaker gear, it's better just to DPS them down. Okay, so now we've established a measure of control in midfield, and we're really looking to get away from this situation and consolidate that game we've made. In this type of situation here, where you're getting a number of opponents exerting CC on you, you want to use your crowd control effects, just slow everything down. And here's the enemy flag carrier. Now he's surrounded by hostile players. You will not be able to, as I wasn't able to, take down the enemy flag carrier by yourself. There's too much protection here. So you want to maintain a positive attitude and think what you can do to help your team. Maybe there's somebody near the flag carrier or waiting to attack the flag carrier, and so you want to lead as many of the enemy flag carrier's teammates off a detour in the wrong direction. Very often that will result in your death, but if you waste the enemy's time, if you tie up a substantial number of the enemy team, then it's a price worth paying. It is unfortunately necessary to sacrifice yourself if you truly wish to win the battleground. Okay, so there's the video. I hope you find this useful. I hope this gives you some insight into how to best approach PvP. Thank you for watching. This has been Archfeldor. Take care.